Hello, everyone. My name is Dominic.
Hello, my name is Jamal.
Hi, everyone. I'm back. I'm Josh.
Yes, and welcome back to Soul Oasis. And happy Independence Day, number 250. 250 years of freedom. 250 years of firearms. 250
Of
years
guns.
of liberty. We're live again. Not sure how it's working because it is uploading to YouTube, supposedly. Let's do this and see if it goes. No. So it's not working on here. On YouTube.
And yes,
But
the
we're-
cat has been shaved. I know it's bizarre.
Oh, yeah. The cat in the
It
back.
was for his own good. Just ignore it. We didn't do that to torture him. He's actually quite happy. Yeah.
Interesting. Stream key is currently assigned. Huh? What does that mean? We are already there. Yeah, it's assigned to that. No. Oh,
Oh,
now
man.
it's going. Okay. Where were we before then?
Yeah, I don't know. That is a great question.
Okay, well, we're here. Let's check on Riverside to see if it's at the same point. It is at 150. This is at 120. So it's about 20 seconds behind, 30 seconds. No, well, no, actually, it's 30 seconds behind. I don't know why I said that. All right. We have the chat going. I guess that next time I'll do it like that. Come on through. We're talking about good old America. But of course, I'll upload the full edited version of this podcast, hopefully in due time. Let's see. Stream settings. Cool. We are public. And our stream health is excellent. Supposedly. Excellent. All right. Well, until some people show up, let's go ahead. We'll do this. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do our check-in.
Let's do it.
Josh, how
Yes.
has your week been?
I'm exhausted. Who knew raising a child was exhausting? I've been told that this part of raising a child is called the fog, and I believe it because, oh my goodness, I do kind of feel like I'm in a fog. Every day blurs together. Every night blurs together. I was already living off coffee. I am now like a being of 98% coffee.
A being of 98% coffee.
That's the way to live.
Yeah. My entire existence is measured between coffee to coffee.
You should try some tea, some high caffeinated tea.
Maybe.
As he drinks more coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be just as much caffeine, but it might make you think you're doing something healthier as you add in 6 spoonfuls of sugar.
This is the cat kissing me nonstop.
He's asking for help.
Love.
He
It's love is
needs
what it is.
He needs help. Hello to Jamal's mom.
Hello, mother.
Hello,
I got to find a better spot for this now that we're doing this live so you can also interact. I think what I'll do is I'll have Riverside going on this, and then I'll have the iPad on YouTube right here so we can look.
Oh, that's smart.
Need to get, that is smart. I also need to get glasses or something.
Do you?
I need to go to the eye doctor too.
My right eye used to be 20, so 2020. But this eye, for years, has deteriorated into, I think they said 20. Didn't make any sense. They said 2015, which is technically better, but I don't know.
I don't know. I just
Anyway,
know.
it's 2026, the 250th anniversary of our Independence Declaration in 1776. Actually, I think it was signed July 2nd, believe it or not, and then fully adopted July 4th. Yeah, I believe so. I'll need to check on that. But Jamal,
Yes.
check in for your week.
My week has been pretty good.
Okay.
I have been working out, eating right. Turns out this bread that I got, it goes bad like the same day. Who would have thought that bread goes bad the same day? Joshua?
Organic bread.
The same day. And I went back to the store today to get some more. And they were like, oh, yeah, there's a bunch of bread that goes bad July 4th. So you're telling me that one, either you people just don't restock bread, or two, the bread goes bad this fast. I feel like as a kid, I just never realized because
You just ate the
it's
bread.
not my job. Well, no, I'm not about to just keep. You know what I mean? Like there's like 4 of us eating bread. Like, of course, a loaf is going to go in like a week, but for it to go like that's a lot of bread for one person.
That is.
A lot of bread, and it's expensive. This isn't no regular like bread. This is like seeds and protein. Like this isn't bread. It's expensive.
Happy July 4th, Red Road One.
Yeah, happy July 4th. This is expensive bread. It's like
Yeah.
$6-7 bread. No, we can't
What?
lose bread.
$7 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Dang. We went to Sam's.
Nah, it's different bread.
I know, but it's like freshly made bread you can just cut.
Yeah, but it's not whole grain with like 22 different
You can get that there too.
nuts. It's still gonna be like $7, $6-7.
I don't know. I'm just talking.
America.
Trash.
You can get whatever you want. We'll charge whatever you want for it.
It'll be super expensive.
You want to eat healthier? Excellent. That'll be
Hope you
3
have
times the
money.
money, please.
Yeah, it's crazy. Or grow your own.
Grow your own bread.
No, like vegetables and fruit.
Over here, these are my wheat fields on my balcony. She says, Yuki bread. Yuki bread.
You keep bread. I don't
Let
know.
me make sure. Yuki bread.
Can any of us see? Is this an issue that we're gonna have to figure out? Are we all 3 gonna have glasses next week?
Well, I'm supposed to wear glasses.
I did see it.
I've been
I
wearing
just had to make
glasses
sure.
my whole life, but I don't
When?
because I feel like only nerds wear glasses.
Wow.
That's why I got rid of mine. Broke them in half.
I lost mine when I was a kid because I thought the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I went like,
But it turns out that it makes your eyesight worse if you don't do something about it.
What
yeah.
if I really want to get contacts, but I
good luck.
can't
Not for me.
touch my eye. Like that's
See,
just
I have
something-
seen my older brother like mess up his eye by making like just little mistakes with contacts. So
Yeah.
I am not
LASIK
getting
surgery.
any contacts. I am getting glasses.
a
Abby's
monocle.
already picked out my glasses.
Okay.
I'll look like Beast from X-Men, but that's fine.
You would,
There you go.
yeah.
You would.
So-
You would look like the Blue Beast from X-Men.
Just paint yourself blue.
Yeah.
I have a Halloween costume for the rest of my life.
Excellent. Now we're talking about saving money.
Yes.
Yeah. Just need a whole lot of blue paint.
Speaking of saving money, I wish I would. My week has been all right. How am I going to pay for gas this coming week? I don't know.
Yeah,
But I
gas is
will.
pretty bad right now.
Well, gas is, yeah, the worst thing is it's like under $80 a barrel. And then estimates should put it around $2.40. It's not $2.40. That's why they're being investigated by the government now. because the oil companies are making so much money.
America.
Yeah, that's
Good for
okay.
them.
Charge them all. Your mom says, Jamal, I still have your very first pair of glasses.
Well, you can
Send 'em
buy
in.
no.
He
You can
needs
buy
them.
me some more.
Oh, you're relying on her, huh?
Yeah, buy me some more glasses.
Hey, you know what?
You don't have your
My
insurance
mom
anymore
is
for
in
vision.
the next room helping with Lizzie. So
You couldn't just got vision,
No,
dental, but it costs like $10.
no.
the smartest thing.
I don't believe in spending all this money for something I never am gonna do.
Yeah, life insurance. Only die once. What's the chances?
Yeah, hey, debt for my kids, not me. Come on now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
America, we're really just hitting all the good parts.
yes.
are we though?
Speaking of America, today I brought my little 3-book collection. I have the Bill of Rights. Yep, it's green.
Oh,
And if that wasn't good enough, I have the Constitution of the United States of America.
nice.
So I can just use it back and forth, I guess. And the Declaration of Independence. Now, I got this from the National Archives of the Library of Congress. When I was
Did
there.
you steal it?
No.
Like,
I just bought it. Like Nick Cage.
yeah.
No. It has a picture of the Declaration of Independence. Something a lot of people don't know. You can see a picture of the Declaration, the true original Declaration of Independence, anytime you want. You can actually go and see it sometimes. The one they put on display usually is a copy because the original had its ink faded from poor protection practices in the 1800s. You can barely see the signers' names. With that
Also,
being
Nick
said,
Cage stole it, so they got to
Yeah.
keep.
Nicolas Cage probably did more for the Declaration of Independence than the people in the 1800s did.
You're right.
I just wanted to read the opening of the Declaration of Independence. All right, I'll read the first page.
Hit us.
When? Okay, that's good. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with one another and assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. One of the most famous statements, maybe ever, especially in the modern world. Yeah, that's the beginning of the Declaration of Independence. And yeah, it's been 250 years, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it's just so important. I know we've talked about this before, but that they really hammered in the fact that our worth does not come from us or what we bring to the table or anything like that. It comes from our Creator. It comes from God. That we have been, our worth comes from that and cannot be taken away by any human ideas.
That's true.
And I that's so important. And I think that as Americans today, we have to hold on to that. Because there's kind of this idea that we are a meritocracy. And yes, we do have some aspects of a meritocracy. And I don't think like letting the people who are best at something rise to the occasion is a bad thing. But we can't forget that our worth does not come from what we do or bring to the table. Like, I do not love Dom or Jamal because of what they do for me. I love them for who they are. Like if, Dom lost his legs tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, well, you can't really help me all that much, can you?
Mm.
And I know that's a bizarre, silly example. Sorry, my brain is all fogged. But what I'm trying to say is that we need to every day use our freedom to love our neighbors for just who they are, not for what they do for us, not because they helped us with that one thing. Even love the people who are difficult and not fun. It doesn't mean you have to like them and be their friend, but we still got to love them because, as Christians, and I think as Americans as well, if we believe in the system, we believe that a person's worth comes from God. It is a natural thing. It is not something that is earned. And both parties, Republicans and Democrats, have lost that. So it's up to the American people to be responsible about this. Like, we need to be Americans even when our leaders are not.
Right.
And that doesn't mean hating or yelling or screaming. It means loving our neighbors, loving our fellow Americans, and loving our fellow humans. And love isn't, always being agreeable. Sometimes it means speaking the truth. And I think as patriots, it is also our job to, defend this little experiment. We've got 250 years of it. And defending it means calling it out when it's made a mistake. It means being honest about our history, but also loving and praying for what we have. I heard a really interesting thing yesterday. My wife was showing me something, and there was this pastor from Korea, and he was talking about America. And he said that he was telling a story how like he had a cheeseburger for the first time, and he told his mom whatever country made this, that's where he wanted to go. And he compared America to a cheeseburger, which was just really interesting. Of that, like, not everything in that cheeseburger is healthy. However, it doesn't mean that you just throw the cheeseburger out. I'm describing it badly. Please look it up. It's really, really good. He gave a beautiful speech about how we need to pray for our country. Whether you're happy with it or unhappy with it, I don't know why you would ever not want to hope for the best for your country, regardless of who's in charge. But I do think that while we should celebrate, we should also have a little bit of a sombering thought that, or sobering thought. Sorry, brain still fog. That the responsibility of this country is in our hands. We tend to try to put everything out of our hands because it's easier to be powerless than to be responsible. And that responsibility starts with living a life that the founding fathers intended, of being socially responsible, of living moral, upright lives. It took people doing that to fight slavery. It took people doing that to fight for women's suffrage. It took people doing that to fight for the civil rights movement. It takes people being responsible and willing to die by what they live for instead of just wanting to live comfortable lives. I'm not telling people to become Spartans and live on brick, like brick beds and stuff like that. Like, you can love your comfort, just don't surrender your freedom for bread and circus. Because I know it's easier. I think we all feel that temptation. We look at the news and we're like, it's all out of my hands anyway. Like the country is run by shadow cabals and all this stuff, and maybe it is. I don't know. I don't have I don't have that knowledge, but to just give up and just try to live a life of disenfranchisement and comfort is not going to protect the country that we love.
That is so true.
Well said.
I think that it, in retrospect, it hasn't been that long. Or 250 doesn't seem like a long time.
No,
Not
it
in
isn't.
terms of the human race.
Life. I think
Compared to the Roman Empire, like
well, we progress so fast, right? Like 250 lives, that's like 3-4 generations. Like that's not a long time to
No, it
just
isn't.
be like kicking it. You know what I mean? Like we've progressed from freaking sticks and stones and muskets and freaking swords to like nukes. You know,
Yeah.
like that's just a crazy short
And
span of time.
I think part of the beauty of it is, yes, I want to make it clear that not everyone was free in America. There was a lot, but just the concepts that were built from the start allowed for us to grow and bring that freedom to more people. It was imperfect, but the basis was there. The thesis was there that let us build to where we are today. And look at what humanity is able to achieve when it is free.
Mm.
Just like you said, look at those 250 years. Look at all the things that have come out of America.
Yeah.
And, I will admit I have a lot of fear of overdeveloping. Like, I have a huge fear of what's happening with AI. I won't get into that because we've had like a billion episodes where I rant and complain about that. But there is so much good advancement that we have too. I mean, look, like air conditioning, cars, airplanes. Like now, like people, like it used to be when you moved away from your family, you would never see them again practically.
Mm-hmm.
Now anybody can really, hopefully afford, money is still an issue, but I mean, like you can hop on a plane and go see your family.
Mhm.
Where it used to be, if you moved away from your family, the chances of you like really seeing them again were slim. That's why very few people actually moved far away because, you're moving into hostile territory. I mean, imagine if we tried the Albuquerque move in a world where we wouldn't be able to see our families.
Yeah.
Like, just think about how hard that would have been. Or I mean, the chances are in a society like that, my in-laws wouldn't have been able to be there for Lizzie's birth, and that would have been heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But we live in a world where that's possible, and that's because of the USA.
Mm.
Like, say what you will, you can make all the arguments about all that stuff, but like the freedom that has been brought by the United States of America has allowed a ton of innovation. And I believe there's been some bad innovation as well. However, that's a topic for another time. I think today is a day of self-reflection and Thanksgiving. Really,
Thanksgiving.
yeah, I think that we need to remember, while there's a lot for America to do and grow in, we need to be thankful for this beautiful, beautiful country that we have. Yeah, it's imperfect, but I mean, we're imperfect. It's going to be imperfect because we're a part of it. And you don't go to someone's birthday and be like, Dom, you have a lot of growing to do.
Mm.
No, we give thanks for Dom at his birthday. Like and that's that's what today is. It's America's birthday, and we need to like give thanks for the wonderful things we have been given for that. Um, yes, we can reflect in ourselves, just like I'm sure Dom would reflect in himself. Of like, okay, what do I want to see done by my next birthday? How do I want to grow? But that it shouldn't be like the main thing. Like, we need to be thankful for what we have,
Mm.
not be blind to the mistakes, but be thankful for this wonderful country we have.
Yeah, and on that note, that's a great segue into. I wanted to talk about the signers of the Declaration of Independence, because the
Let's
people
do
who
it.
founded this country, and oftentimes Jamal talked about it too a little while back. Oftentimes, people focus on the negatives of people of the past and completely disregard everything great those people did. Whether it's Martin Luther King Jr. and like, oh, this thing came out with the CIA files, and oh, I guess he wasn't a good person. Screw him.
Oh yeah, the CIA has always been
The
honest.
FBI, yeah, correct.
Or FBI, yeah.
But I think it's important to highlight one, every single one of these signers I'm about to mention. I'll read like a little blurb about the signers. I don't need to read every name. I can though, but every single one of these signers, if they would have failed in the revolution, they would have been executed as traitors, because that's what they were at the end of the day. Yes, Britain was tyrannical and in the wrong at the time, but that would have been the end result. Unless they absolutely believed they needed one of the two of those people, they were all going to be killed and set as an example. Probably drawn and quartered.
What people need
Perhaps.
to remember is that Britain was the Rome of the day. It was
Yes.
a powerhouse.
In fact, it's still, to this day, the strongest empire to ever exist. Largely because of their navy.
Yep.
But here, I'll read this little blurb about the signers. Unless you have something specific to say about what we were just talking about before I do that. I don't want to interrupt you.
No.
Okay. I just want to read this. It says, the signers. In June of 1776, a committee was commissioned to draft a Declaration of Independence. The committee consisted of Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert R. Livingston. The draft was made by Jefferson, and after a few verbal alterations by Dr. Franklin and Mr. Adams, it was submitted to Congress on the 28th of June. On the 1st of July, 9 states voted for independence. On the 4th of July, the 13 United Colonies declared themselves free and independent states. John Hancock, the President of Congress, was the only one to sign it that day. It was released to the world with only his signature, but on August 2nd, 1776, all but one of the 56 signers put their pens to the parchment. Matthew Thornton, the lone absentee, did not sign until November. So that's why John Hancock wrote his name so large. He was the only name on that paper originally. Yeah. Yeah. And that took a lot of guts. Like, okay, we're going to rebel.
When you remember that a lot of them were not that old.
No. In fact,
Like-
yeah, quite a few of them were, there was a couple that are 18, 20, 33, I think. What was Jeff? Yeah, 33. And then, yeah, not much older than that.
And then, my thing is that when people come after them and say, oh, well, they weren't all that good. And it's like, well, yeah, they were human. We are all hypocrites and, have problems and stuff like that. And that's not to say that because we all have them that it's okay. But look, give me a magnifying glass and give me the ability to see what everyone has done wrong, and I'll be able to find lots of wrong things about everybody.
Yeah.
Now, there are some things that you're like, oh, that's really bad. But, when you think about the moral courage it took to do what they did, I think that we can at least respect that.
Absolutely. I was about to say, it took a lot of courage to rebel against, at the time, the strongest nation the world had ever seen.
Yeah. No,
With troops already on the ground in your country,
yeah.
with no guarantee of pay for the militiamen over here. We needed to call France for funding.
Yep.
which originally they didn't want to do, and then we're like, well, it's Britain, and like, okay, well, we'll do it. We're already in debt, but whatever. Those same people were executed by their people only years later, but whatever.
Yeah, France kind of tried to do their own little thing. They just
Yeah, it
they
was
went
it
off the deep
worked,
end.
kinda. They definitely got rid of them, but yeah, it took a lot of courage, a lot of character to then chisel out things in such a careful and thoughtful manner to make what I consider, and I'm completely biased, the greatest document ever made, the Constitution of the United States of America, where they even offered George Washington he could be king after they won the war, and he turned it down. Those were
Yeah.
the kind of people you're dealing with. People who turn down absolute power for the betterment of their countrymen
And we tend to
the future of
mythologize these people,
generations.
but I mean, I think it's important to realize that yeah, they were people. They had their moments of incredible bravery, and they had their moments of failure, which is just like we do.
Yep.
The difference is that we don't hold each other up to mythology level things. Where I think Americans have tended to over mythologize people like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. And then when we find out that they were human, we're like, oh no!
It can be not Honest Abe, not
Yeah.
George Washington.
But these guys were humans.
Yeah.
They made just as many mistakes as us. They just were
They got
at the
past
right
them,
time at the right place.
and when it mattered, they produced results. I did want to say we don't have anything specific outside of that in terms of the topic, though. I do want to ask, you guys have, well, one, a favorite president, and two, like a most proud to be American moment. We're like, oh man, we pulled that off. America, heck yeah. We're the best. Woo. What do you think?
Hmm. I
Or does anybody watching have a
my favorite
president?
president will always be Teddy Roosevelt.
All right, Theodore Roosevelt.
I just always respected that he was a guy who had asthma, I believe, much like I do, and he overcame it. He decided to be strong instead of letting excuses be made for him. Also, his love of nature, I really relate to. I love nature. I love animals. Um, and I love adventure. And so I really love those things about him. Um, I don't necessarily agree with all of his economic ideas, but I did love his story, and I do believe that everything he did was to really help our country. Also, setting up national parks, huge thing.
Yeah.
I believe that was him.
Yes, Theodore Roosevelt, huge outdoorsman. He
Yeah,
set up the National Park Service.
and I think it's a thing that we forget about. We forget about that we are stewards to the animals and nature around us.
Commissioned Mount Rushmore.
They're not just inconveniences.
Yes.
The animals around us deserve our love. As you can see, this poor pathetic creature,
Whatever that
needs
is in the
love.
back. Yeah. Theodore Roosevelt, Panama Canal allowed for a bunch of money to be made economic wise. Ease of travel across South America.
This is going to be a bizarre answer to this, but I remember the time after 9/11 as kind of my awakening as an American citizen in like good ways and bad ways. I remember being told what happened. I remember seeing what happened. I remember the terror and fear of that there was somebody out in the world who hated us just because we were American. But I also remember that rally around the flag.
Mm.
And I think some mistakes were made in the aftermath of that because a lot of people were angry and a lot of people were scared. But that's when I really started to realize that this was a belief worth dying for. I even started to kind of put that together as a kid that we were in a unique position and we were given so much and that it was something worth defending. So that I know not a super happy, like, heck yeah, America,
Hmm.
but like it was a sense of like, and probably because I was a kid, but it was one of like the purest moments of I stand by my flag.
Yeah, I think that moment. I mean, it can be a heck yeah moment in terms of our immediate response. Party lines seem to completely dissolve in a flash. I remember Bush's approval ratings jumped to like 96%. He went straight and targeted the people who took credit for that, and then we won pretty quickly. Of course, people will get upset about other things that happened afterwards, like you said, but yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was definitely a unifying moment of like, how dare you do this to us, to our people? We're Americans, all of us. All
yeah.
arguments about things seem to dissolve. I don't remember exactly. Maybe they just kept arguing, but I don't remember my mom
It
really.
could just be our perception as
Yeah.
children. It's tough to know, but it is like very much you know, um, I guess like another moment is the victory. Victory in World War II.
Mm.
Of just like my grandfather being part of that and stuff like that. Of just how like we said we were going to do it and we did it.
Yeah, we didn't even want to be in World War II, but
And I think, I know a lot of people don't like to say this anymore, but that's why they were the greatest generation. They were like, we're going to do this and it's going to happen. No matter
yeah,
the sacrifice, no matter the what we got to do,
yeah,
they
victory
just,
guaranteed. Mm.
and it was, it's just kind of inspirational that like you kind of look around and you're like, does anybody do that anymore?
I mean, by now we're so overwhelmingly powerful that I think the world just assumes we're going to win any conflict we're part of. But back then, not only was it a war originally we wanted to stay out of in general, and the American people wanted to stay out of, it was against an incredibly powerful force, and we had not been tested since World War One
Yeah. And
to that level, and we weren't tested in a situation where the opposition seemed to be winning. We were going to join what was essentially a losing,
a
the
practically
losing
lost
side.
cause.
Yeah, Nazi Germany, man, they were running almost not uncontested. Of course, people were fighting back, but they were getting victory after victory, especially Japan and China. That
It
was
was
essentially
basically just Great
uncontested.
Britain and Russia holding out on two different
Yeah, and
sides.
Britain had a lot of their forces decimated.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of their
mean, basically
machinery
all they had was their
decimated.
Navy and Air Force.
Yeah,
you know?
and there was no guarantee that even if we won, it was going to be worth whatever losses we incurred. If we lost, there was no guarantee we wouldn't have to give up something in the loss. So a huge moment, not only while the battle was happening, but when the victory reshaped the landscape of the world with the United States and Soviet Russia at the top.
Yeah, it basically took out all the other superpowers.
Yep. And it showed a difference in tactic after the war was over, how he treated the people who lost.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why Germany, not to get into a history lesson here, but part of the reason why Germany was so easy to take control of and use, as Hitler did, was because of the, what am I trying to say? Because of the punishment we placed on Germany after World War I, where they had to spend their own money to rebuild Europe, to pay back for losses, and it made it very easy to make them feel like they were not being treated fairly. Instead, we worked together to rebuild it. Japan is now essentially our closest ally. And we didn't take Japan for ourselves. We didn't, force them to.
All things that we could have done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we should have.
It was an unconditional surrender. We made them, their emperor, say he wasn't a god. Then we started placing troops there. We did get rid of their military technically, but the self-defense forces are pretty strong. But yeah, huge moment. Huge moment. What about you, Jamal? Anything you could think of?
Yeah. My favorite president has to be Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. Okay.
Yeah. He was fantastic. It was fun. I enjoyed him a lot. All the stories from him. It's fantastic.
The sax man.
Easier. But realistically, my favorite president was probably George Washington.
George Washington,
I think
the founding father himself.
Yeah, I mean, I've told my views about, the legislative, judicial, executive branches, all of them. And I think he's the closest to what I would envision for a president.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't argue with me. Yeah.
Like I've always said, like I there's things I do that I don't vote. I don't, because I don't agree with the process of it. I don't agree with the parties. I don't agree with fighting. I don't agree with any of it. I think George Washington is the closest to what I would have imagined the world should have followed his lead and what he said do. So I liked him a lot. I do think that one of the best American moments had to be, there's two, but 9/11 was definitely one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one, like growing up, the stories and everything, that is one of the most American things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We've put aside so much, and it was the first time in a long time, besides like World War II, the wars, I would say that America combined, and it was like America, right? Like I've said 250 is a short time, I feel, but that's one of the times where it was like, dang, this is what we're going through, right? World War II is also one of those times where it's like America has to come together to fight for something more.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the moments that I like how World War II, 9/11 is seen in the world. That's how I envisioned the Revolutionary War, of something being like, this is something that we have to come together, and it's either we come together and we fight for something against something, or we're going to fail if we don't come together. And I think those are the moments that I would say is America, where it's like strength over anything else. So I do think that's one of the best moments. I also feel like the killing of like Osama bin Laden was great, right? Like
we got him.
Awesome. Like that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But also like the little things we did when we were from a 13 to 50, like there's some bad things, but like the Trail of Tears, it was awful for the Native Americans.
Say like, man, that was dope.
It's awful for what had happened, but America got bigger,
expanding America and all that.
Awesome. Louisiana Purchase,
of course, that was.
We're doing some fantastic stuff.
What a banger purchase
so,
that was.
I think the growth of America is great.
Mm-hmm.
How things occurred are bad, but then again, it's like, well,
in hindsight,
what would you have done differently? Right?
Yeah.
Like you weren't in those moments. In those moments, that's probably what they thought they could do. So you could say now, yeah, that's terrible, but then we'd only be 30 states instead of 50. You know what I mean? So you got to think about those pros and cons as well.
That's true. Your mom says her favorite president is Bill Clinton as well.
Hey, great minds.
She also says, Josh, I see you shaved your cat. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the cat is doomed. Doomed to the cold. Lucky it's
He'll freeze
not
to
winter.
death. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
You brought up the Revolutionary War, of course, which is the beginning of America itself. I remember, because everybody knows Washington crossing the Delaware. Before that, he only had the thing is, army shrunk from like 70,000, like 3,000, because there were so many desertions, they were being killed, and he on Christmas Day marched up, got the boats, and like brought them across the Delaware Christmas night, ambushed the enemy, and won that battle. It shows like, because yes, we had some desertions. We had people that we've lost. I think on December 25th, 1776, what was it, 1778? I can't remember. 1782? I can't remember. Somebody correct me. I don't know when it is. I blanked out on it. But when he crossed the Delaware, I'm pretty sure the Continental Congress had to flee their state because they thought they were going to be killed. They were all going to lose. Washington went up to Delaware. It showed like the determination mattered.
Yeah.
It wasn't just an empty, we're all going to die. There's no hope, but we'll go out fighting. It was, no, there's always a chance. And then the chance ended up being victory. And then eventually led to a complete victory over Great Britain. So yeah, it is
Thanks,
definitely
people like Lafayette.
Lafayette.
This is, yeah.
I know.
For me, I'll name some different ones. My favorite president, I mean, it's always going to be the top two to me. George Washington, he's the founding father. I love how he was this like little known general in the British Army. They got him, and then he won the war along with a bunch of other people, of course. He became the most famous man. Like I said, he was so beloved at that point when they won the war. They were going to allow him to become king if he wanted to, turned it down. While they were, before the Constitution was even signed, they had the Whiskey Rebellion, where people believed that the people in charge were not fit. He walked into the room, said a few words, and put down the rebellion. Now, to be fair, it's an over-exaggeration. He walked up there with an army, but then he still spoke with them. Like, will you allow an old man to say a few words? And he put down that whole rebellion. I love that.
One of my favorite George Washington stories is when Jefferson and Hamilton were just at each other's throats nonstop. And George Washington took them out on a fishing trip, rowed out to the center of the lake, took both the oars from them, put it behind him, and was like, figure it out. And then pulled out his fishing stuff and started fishing. It was like, we can leave when you guys figure it out.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm like, what were they going to do? To like take the oars from this 6-foot dude? Like,
Yeah, from George Washington, this absolute unit.
And they're not fighters like he is. Like,
yeah, no.
He
So
chopped
like
down a whole cherry tree.
yeah, he just was like, listen, I will have a great time fishing.
Yeah.
You guys figure out your issues. And I don't know, just something about that is just so fatherly and
Yeah.
like, you know.
That's fair. I like that a
I just
lot.
really love that story.
Something you might not like, Jamal, is because of George Washington. George Washington, and many presidents after that, when he was president of the United States, there was no amendment limiting the amount of terms he could have. But it was George Washington who decided, just for himself, that he didn't want to overstay his position and wanted to let someone with new ideas become the president.
I love that
they're just going to
every
let him
single
be president
time-
indefinitely.
Basically, every single time people are like, you made a mistake, he's like, impeach me, please. I'm done. I want to be done.
Yeah, because of him and his memory, they added the amendment where you limit a president to 2 terms, which I don't actually agree with. I think it should be up to that president whether they want to run again, and then ultimately up to the people whether they want that man or woman in charge for a longer period of time. But I do respect it. Took a lot because, like I said, he was essentially the most powerful president ever. He could do whatever he wanted. People would argue with him. there's not much you could really do.
The thing is that he didn't act like the strongest president. He was very
He was
much
just-
he was very well aware that he was a battlefield commander
Mhm.
and not a politician. And so like he asked for help.
He got a lot.
He did not like act and like he
Do it
did
all
not
himself.
want to be there. It was more everyone wanted him there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was thrust upon him, and he could not forgo the call of duty. My favorite president, though, even over him, very likely, is Abraham Lincoln, the man who reunified the country when it seemed like it would be split forever during the Civil War. He won the Civil War against one of the greatest generals this country has ever seen, Robert E. Lee, who was the lead general of the Confederate Army. Now, he did it with a general who everybody said was terrible, and then ended up winning because even Robert E. Lee was like, what the heck?
Well, Robert E. Lee was really poorly equipped, and
I mean, yeah, that too, but
the-
even he said he didn't expect
yeah,
the ramshackle approach. No, nothing against the Union generals.
yeah.
If you're a Union
Well, I
general
mean,
fan.
they did some interesting tactics, like Sherman's march.
Yeah.
They were not tactics that a gentleman of the South would have been comfortable
Yeah.
with doing.
Yeah, but Abraham Lincoln, he reunified the country. We talked about the approach in World War II for the United States after its mistakes in the end of World War I. Abraham Lincoln didn't impose terribly harsh penalties
Yeah.
on the South afterwards. Technically, every single one of those people were traitors and could have all been executed. Some were, like some of the people who refused to even surrender when the war was over. The leader, Sam Austin, I'm pretty sure it was Austin. Yeah,
I don't think so, because Stephen F. Austin, different dude.
Stephen F. Austin. Yeah,
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Stephen F. Austin.
Stephen F. Austin was already dead, I think, because he was the guy who founded.
Was it
found-
Sam Houston?
Sam Houston died at the beginning of the Civil War.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was somebody who was in charge of the Confederates.
I know
Anyway.
Samuel something, I think was his name, but
Yeah.
like,
I'm pretty sure that guy was executed.
but yeah, no. Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston were very much against the Confederacy. They were
but-
both founders. Sam Houston was the first president of Texas. I call him the George Washington of Texas because he was also the general who became the first president. Where Stephen F. Austin was like kind of the founder of Texas, for lack of a better term.
I guess,
They were
yeah.
both very much. Stephen F. Austin was against slaves. He was Catholic, and Sam Houston worked so hard to get Texas into the Union that he was like, "No, we can't just leave now."
Yeah, it was.
But I know you're talking about Samuel something was his name. He was the president of the Confederacy, I believe.
Oh, it was actually it was Jefferson Davis. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was not a terribly harsh penalty for the South.
Unfortunately, because of the death of Abraham Lincoln, a lot of more cruel practices were put in place, which created a lot of animosity.
Yeah, Sam Houston died in 1863. Yes.
If they
That
had
caused a lot of problems.
followed what Abraham Lincoln wanted to do, we probably would be living in a different world. But
Yeah, originally Abraham Lincoln was going to allow them to keep their slaves and who knows how long. If it meant preserving the Union
Well,
until eventually an amendment could be passed at some point.
yeah.
Because he was famous for hating slavery.
Well,
Though not
I
at
have
the-
heard, and people correct me if I'm wrong here, I have heard that George Washington actually agreed with Robert E. Lee's approach. Because Robert E. Lee was part of a society that wanted to free the slaves, but they were terrified if they just freed the slaves immediately that it would create a lower class who was so far behind the classes that weren't put into slavery that it would create a divide that would take forever to fix. So Robert E. Lee and his society's plan was to educate the African Americans and get them to the same level and then let them free. The problem is that it always appeared to be one more thing. From what I've looked into, it looks like that was also kind of Abraham Lincoln's idea, but the war forced his hand.
Yeah, the war, even, you can look at his own documents. He said when he was going to be elected, and people argue back and forth whether he actually meant what he said or he was just trying to appease some of the Southern voters. When he would say disparaging things about African Americans, but he said, I don't like slavery, but I don't believe they're equal to white citizens. You can argue back and forth. No one knows his own mind.
Well, unfortunately, that was just a common belief. I think that you would find even some of the most, I think you'd find some of the most gung-ho abolitionists probably still believed that they were superior, which is terrible. But unfortunately, it was, as a whole, that was kind of as good as it got, typically.
So as soon as he got elected, the Southern states essentially believed Abraham Lincoln would take the slaves away, ruin their economy. And throughout the war, Abraham Lincoln gave them several chances to rejoin the Union and keep slaves and not incur financial penalties on this for betrayal. And then they pushed all those aside for the argument of you don't respect states' rights, that sort of thing. Even after the war ended, with the Emancipation Proclamation as well, he allowed the border states who didn't bother to pick a side in the first place to keep their slaves for a certain amount of time so that they wouldn't then choose to rebel immediately after the war. But he is credited essentially with freeing the slaves because it was going to happen in full soon enough, with preserving the Union, because there would no longer be a United States of America without him. Of course, for being very tall with his top hat, and for doing this all in under a term. He had the most pressure on him of any president in history, bar essentially none. I think even George Washington had less pressure on him than Abraham Lincoln did in that moment. Because it wasn't just, we just got done fighting a nation, now I have to build this nation up, which is a lot of pressure. You could argue he still had most. Well, but Abraham Lincoln was tasked with preserving this country that now was infighting within itself, and to this day is still the deadliest war in American history in terms of American
also
loss.
Just like when you think about it, he was dealing with the explosion of the pressure that had been building.
Yes.
Since day one.
His predecessor did not do a dang thing to help.
Really, none of them did. They just kept kicking the can down the road when it came to slavery. No one knew what to do with it. And that's why I think it is important to, if there's huge moral issues going on, they have to be tackled.
Yeah.
You can't just keep kicking them down the road.
You can't do half measures. And that's part of the reason why this erupted in the 1860s. They knew Abraham Lincoln was not a half measured man. They knew he despised slavery. So they were right to say, like, this is your intention, because it very likely was.
And the thing that's so sad is that if things had been tackled earlier, his
Probably would've been
election
fine.
probably wouldn't have caused
No.
succession. Because it, boiling the frog slowly,
Yeah.
so to speak. But
Also-
instead, things had been built up to such a fever pitch, and so many silly things were tried, like slave state, free states,
Yeah.
the Mason-Dixon line, like the dumbest compromises were being made.
Yeah. Because they didn't know what to do. And now, like we've said before, hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
Like in the moment, you have to do the best you can to not incur the wrath. Jamal mentioned this before, like Louisiana Purchase. We didn't even have all of these states that we were making in these moments.
Yeah.
So they had to decide as things were happening.
Well, the problem
Abraham-
is that they let evil become part of their culture.
I mean, yes. And that's what I'm getting to
And-
as well. Not only the culture, the economy.
Yeah.
The southern
and-
states
and-
were right to say our entire economy is built upon this slave labor, and they should have imposed. There were several things the Congress could have done to lighten that load over even the 25 or so years before the war began.
Absolutely.
That would
But-
have essentially averted that entire conflict, in my opinion. Like I said,
And the problem was there was enough people in the North who were threatened by the economic power of the South
Mhm.
that the argument could be made that the entire abolitionist movement, this is not true, but it was something that a lot of the people in the South believed, that its entire purpose was to cripple the South economically.
Yes, the South
That is
did
not
believe
true.
that they
However-
wanted to be beholden to the federal government, and that
Yeah.
that was only one of the rights they were going to crush under the. It wasn't true, but
Yeah, I'm sure there were some people in the North who benefited from
I mean, of course.
the collapse.
yeah,
However, I do believe that most of them really did care
Yeah.
about the people being impacted.
yeah.
um,
And like I said, Abraham Lincoln didn't want to make the war about slavery. They brought up their states' rights, and they wanted to make sure that they knew that he cared about the states. But when foreign countries started to offer their support for the South as the rebellious, underappreciated part, making it about slavery immediately crippled any chance of a European nation, which had already abolished slavery and would have been immediate political suicide, from helping the South, and essentially
Yeah.
clinched it for the North. So brilliant move there, and one that ultimately served what Abraham Lincoln wanted in the end, and was better for the country anyway. Anything that depends on an evil to survive needs to be extinguished in the first place.
And it's
And
not
he did.
easy, but at the same time, as much as I respect Robert E. Lee and like his belief, I am of the thought that slavery needed to be eliminated immediately.
Yeah.
Y-
Peel the Band-Aid off as fast as you can. You can't.
And yes, has his fears come true? Yeah, unfortunately, in
Yes.
a lot of ways.
But because of what the South did in most part, it would have been a much
Yes.
easier transition if not right after you didn't have the Jim Crow.
Exactly.
All right. You didn't have the Reconstruction era BS that they tried to tack on to.
And the North
act
didn't
like-
help enough.
No, they
I
didn't
think
help
that's
enough.
something that's not talked about. The North kind of like when black people went north, the North was just kind of like, okay, we're going to throw you in with the Irish.
Good luck. And we've had, and you brought up the civil rights movement, we've had several times where, and it's not just with slavery, but it could be with anything, where a wrong is undone and not enough is done to fix it in the moment, balance the scales. You're just like, okay, good luck. We'll hope for the best. But it goes back to what we were saying. In those moments, you can only do the best you can.
Yeah.
If
It
I was
doesn't
in that
change-
place, first off,
Yeah.
no, don't make me president. What do you mean they're about to have a civil war? Good luck. You win. You got it. But
The
I don't know. I
But
really
yeah,
respect
you know,
what he did.
you
He
can't
kept his
make
composure. His wife was
you
going
can't make a
literally
deal
insane
with
in the
evil.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, greatest president of all time. The Gettysburg Address, one of not the greatest speech ever. Under that pressure in those circumstances, phenomenal. I love Abraham Lincoln. George Washington is either a close second and right there with him. Other than that, I'll name just Robert F. Kennedy for how he handled the Cuban Missile Crisis and how terrified he
Oh, you
was.
mean JFK, not Robert?
Oh, I just made a mistake off of what I just said. I saw in the video. Yeah, John F. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy was his. Oh, okay. Was a couple people in the family actually.
Yep.
Yeah, JFK. He handled the Cuban Missile Crisis amazingly. Actually, Robert F. Kennedy did a great job as well. But nepotism. Modern presidents. I like how Bush handled 9/11 in terms of that's the craziest thing you could have possibly happened, where you were reading a book at a daycare center and you had to go deal with it right in the moment. And he unified the nation, kept calm, but he's known for loving everybody. Who else? I know Bill Clinton, he gets a bad rep for his foolish decisions while in office in terms of personal life. I actually think in terms of his competence as a president, he had a reputation of staying calm in the Situation Room. He had a reputation of keeping his staffers incredibly calm when things went very poorly.
Other than his mishandling of keeping a pulse, keeping a finger on the pulse of Osama bin Laden and stuff like that.
Yes, he wished for the best. He wished for the best. He brought up.
I think he was a unifying force as a whole, which was really nice.
In fact, he talked about, not to make this into a Israel-Palestine thing, he tried to give the Palestinians their own state for a while. He really did. And he would have pulled it off. They just rejected his proposals with in rooms with Israel because they wanted more than he was.
That situation is always going to be complex.
It's always gonna be.
And I think a lot of the issue is that us as Americans just don't get it.
I mean, the people in the situation on the ground, they hate each other. They don't fully understand because they don't want to. They want the best for their own people. We here don't get it because we see only what we want to see. We only receive. It's like Denzel Washington always says, if you don't read the papers, you're uninformed. If you do, you're misinformed. We don't know what's going on.
Well, and also, it's not our land. You know what I mean? If someone came into America and put us in the same situation,
then
took the country parts that we had been raised on, but they were it's also ours. It opened up that situation, and maybe we'd understand it.
This is something of biblical.
For us, we kind of look at it and go guys, it's just land. Which is not the right way to look at it. But
it's not just land. It's,
we're not being, it's hard for us to be empathetic to it because we're just kind of guys, why are you fighting over land?
Yeah.
Just take
anyway, I don't want to just name the older presidents while they are the most famous and some being the most consequential, because without them, we wouldn't even be here in the first place, quite literally. I think it's important to mention even people like Donald Trump, Barack Obama. You can still appreciate these modern presidents who don't have to deal with things quite as crucial to the survival of this nation, but they're still the presidents. They have to deal with quite a bit more in some facts in terms of economy, different facets, the military.
And I think
Ronald Reagan is a huge favorite of mine. I think he did amazingly. He's one of the most famous presidents in history.
I think that we need to stop this love-hate thing with presidents. And look, I've fallen for it too. Dom has heard me rant about certain presidents. I think we should all be praying for their success and, wanting them to succeed and not taking their victories away from them just because we don't like them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I get that that's become a lot harder with, the last 4 or 5 presidents, because it's become so like you must love or hate them.
Yeah, very tribalistic, as Jamal and I were talking about.
And, I don't think that really helps anything. You can
No.
be frustrated with the decision they've made, but I try to keep it down to like, I don't know them. I don't know what's in their heart. I just try to gauge off the action that's being taken and say I don't like that action instead of like insulting them. And I fail quite often. Just ask my wife. I have some choice words about decisions being made sometimes. But I would encourage everyone to try to ignore the person and just look at the actions.
Mm.
Because what is hating them going to do?
Yeah, fair. And that's important on this day more than essentially any other. These people are still carrying over the will. If you look at Naruto, the will of fire.
Yes.
But the will of the founding fathers, and they're doing the best they can. He called it the American experiment. This is what people have been calling it. And it has been probably the most successful experiment this world has ever seen in terms of how far we've progressed in just 250 years. Not only in terms of our influence and power, we are the most influential and powerful nation on the planet, but in keeping in the values Josh mentioned in God. But not just that, in terms of their brotherhood from man to man, the will to understand one another, even if we disagree. I think that's really important. So I hope you guys go out there, if you go to a barbecue, if you're just at home with your family, and try to understand each other just a bit more and celebrate together, even if you don't, even if you disagree on almost nothing. Right? This is the United States of America. And it needs to do its best to stay united. And that goes for more than just looking at political lines. It goes into thinking, why did we bother to do this in the first place? We tried to make lives better for the people around us. And it wasn't just their immediate family and neighbors. It's for people that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, all these people never even met. So I think it's really important for the 250th anniversary, 300th, 500th, to uphold the values that they stood for. That's why I think the Constitution is such a revered document, and it needs to be, because it's always about what did the Founding Fathers intend. Now, we have added amendments to it. The Founding Fathers meant this, so the Civil Rights Act can be applied here. The Founding Fathers meant this, so women should be able to vote as well. It's always gone back to their intent and what they did to found this nation. Yeah, I can argue online all I want about term lengths and decisions here and there, and these people in these states have no idea what they're doing. They're a bunch of fakes. They don't deserve to be here. But I didn't have to fight a war for it. There are people today going out there risking their lives to defend the values we take for granted. So that's why I'm wearing United States Air Force. Thank you, Mom, for your service. Yeah, a little less than 250 years of it, but yeah. 25, actually, I think. About 26? 26. They do 4-year. Yeah. Let us know in the comments. If you're here live, who's your favorite president? Yeah. You have a favorite? Is it because of a policy? Is it because they're just cool? Let us know. Yeah. Send us a message. What's your favorite American moments? I don't think I mentioned mine, actually. I was going to mention something other than you guys said. I'm going to say when the United States, in record time, landed men on the moon and showed that even this infant nation is capable of absolutely anything. That orb we had seen in the sky since the dawn of man, we are walking around on, we planted our flag on and said, the United States of America is here. This was a combined effort. We've done it. Anything is possible.
My grandfather built the propulsion thing for the lunar module.
Yeah, and my grandfather supposedly worked on the computers used
There
and
you
some of
go.
that stuff. So
Nice.
good for we did it.
Grandfathers.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the United States. We actually worked with the Canadians, a bunch of people. It was the space race. It was a huge human achievement, but definitely United States achievement. Yeah, I'll mention that one. Yeah, let us know what your favorite American moment was. Let us know what your favorite American president. Let us know what your favorite American invention was. Was it the internet?
Sometimes.
Pretty good. The assembly line.
Well, I think that's
Cheddar.
just about enough from us.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Any final closing thoughts? Short closing thoughts?
Everyone, enjoy your 4th of July. Enjoy your time with your family. Have a cheeseburger if you can.
Gary?
But yeah, just, really think of it like a birthday. Be thankful for what you have. Give thanks for it.
All right. Well,
I really like the birthday thing. That was really cool. I never thought of it like that, but that's awesome. Go out there, drink your apple juice, go enjoy the 4th of July. Remember what Independence Day is, why we celebrate it. I think that it has become more of a just eat the hot dogs and enjoy the fireworks type of day instead of what independence is. And whether you like America or not, it's you live here, you know. So enjoy for what it is. And if you don't like it, go make a difference. Go change it. Go study poli sci and go get in politics and go change it. You know what I mean? Like you can complain all day, but what are you gonna do if you don't do anything? So enjoy the day, drink your apple juice, and go meet somebody. Go say hello, and yeah, that's it.
all right. Well said. All I'll say is thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, we're over a year of Soul Oasis, so we really appreciate you watching. Whether it's live like this or in the video I upload afterwards. Feel free to share this with your friends for the 250th anniversary. Go ahead and like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will say America has come very far, but it can go even farther. So God bless you all. God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. Happy 250th anniversary. Here's the next 250. Take care, explorers, travelers, patriots, and we'll see you again in the next episode of Soul Oasis. Take care, guys. Thanks for joining us. I said fermented apple juice for the win. Wow. Great live, young man, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Take care. Take care. Take care, guys. Happy Independence Day.